so upset. Okay, we're recording now. So I think back and I remember how negative I was in terms of how much I would compare myself, just like by instinct. It wasn't that I thought to myself every day, hey, let me find a flaw in myself that other people don't have in every situation that I'm in. That's just what my brain did. And then I found that the more I got upset about that, like the more I compared myself, it wasn't even that I was like upset specifically because there was something about me. It was just like it turned into this general disdain for who I was. And there would be times where I'd be distracted from that. You know, I'd be out with friends, or I'd be no, even then I would compare myself. But there were times that wasn't in the forefront of my mind, but that feeling, that emotion still stuck. How many times have you guys gone to a doctor's appointment that's been disappointing, or anything really that's been just disappointing, and you had really high hopes, and then you go there and it just frustrates you? Or how many times have you been craving something? I used to do this all the time. I used to have like crackhead status cravings all the time. They ran my life, right? And if I couldn't get the thing I wanted, the store didn't have it, or I ate it and it was like it tasted weird. You ever just like get takeout from somewhere and it's like it tastes just a bit off? You're like, did they leave this out of the refrigerator overnight? I don't know. I'm nervous. Not going to eat it. That's just like normal disappointment, right? No, when those things would happen, it turned into this whole spiel about how I wasn't good enough, how I sucked, how I don't, like, nothing comes easy to me, like all this stuff. It just spiraled from something stupid. And then I realized that it was because all day long I was finding things that I wish were better about me. And that's where the quote, when I heard this quote, comparison is the killer of joy, it like resonated with me so much, because it truly friggin' is. You know, do you think that there are people out there that compare themselves to you? Because back in the day, I didn't. I was like, who the hell would be envious of me, or who the hell would be comparing themselves to me? You know, but if you talk to people, they all do it. And we all do it. And, you know, there's people who are imperfect, let's say, with what we want to achieve. And yet they still somehow do something better than we do it. They still somehow are happier, more confident. They have a better relationship. They look better, better style. Oh, I wish I looked like her. You know, I'm her size. Why don't I look that good in clothes? Blah, blah, blah. There was a reason to compare myself all the time. And I realized something. None of that comparing ever gave me the action that I needed to change what it was that I was upset about. All it did was make me feel like, because I wasn't immediately that person, that I was hopeless. And it wasn't that person doing it to me. It wasn't my size, my weight, anything that made that reality. It was just all up here. So I'm going to open the chat in case you guys are talking. Okay. Feel free, open the chat. Give me some feedback as I'm talking about these things. Tell me what's connecting with you. You know, comparing myself down to the types of jobs that I had, the schooling that I was going for, you know, feeling stupid to even talk or say things, you know, in case, what if somebody judged me for it? Or what if someone thought I was dumb or not deserving? Comparing myself and keeping myself in relationships that I knew I was settling for, or relationships that were toxic, because somehow there was something about me that needed to change to make things better. And that, yeah. Imposter syndrome is a bitch. Like, it's crazy. And it's the perfectionism that goes with it is something that, oddly enough, most women with health issues have. You either become a perfectionist where you worry about every little step because it's not quite good enough, or you pull back and you avoid everything major in life. You avoid decisions, friendships, relationships, anything with the propensity of hurting you where you're not good enough. Those are the two directions that comparison takes you. It makes you run away, or it makes you self-loathe. And it does nothing to improve upon the things that are actually making you feel insecure, because that's the root of it, is that you're feeling insecure. So to figure all this shit out, you have to figure out what you're insecure about. What is it that you're actually afraid of? Take everybody knows, I was just talking to one fantastic client about this, but everybody knows that, oh crap, what was it? That's where my brain's at. I got a review. Hold on. Oh, everybody knows logic is there. It's not like, I see you smiling, girl, but everybody knows that it's not because we're illogical. It's not because we're not smart enough to know reality from not reality, or not smart enough to know it's not healthy to compare, blah, blah, blah. It's that whether or not we know it, the emotions are still there and they feel real and they feel hurtful. So if you catch yourself just having ups and downs of your mentality, you may not even realize that you're comparing yourself to people, because maybe you don't have that inner dialogue. But maybe you feel good one minute and something makes you feel kind of meh, and then you just kind of stay meh all day. How many times does that happen, you guys? And you're like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Like, I don't. One of my other clients always says this, and it cracks me up, that she's like, I feel like I need brain shocks. And like, that's how I used to feel when I was younger, where I was just like, what's wrong with me? I was feeling so great. Like I must have some real issues, blah, blah, blah. I'm so messed up. Honestly, you know what it is? It's keeping yourself in the not good enough box all day long. Because eventually when you start thinking something long enough, you believe it. If you have a crappy employer, if you have a crappy boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, family member, any situation that takes and takes and takes from you. Very rarely, and tell me if you guys relate to this, very rarely do we blame the other person for being advantageous. We usually blame ourselves for not working hard enough, or being good enough, or not being able to do it all and be recognized for it. That stems from comparison. If I don't act this way, if I don't do this, if I don't live up to this standard, I'm going to be considered lazy. I'm not as good as the other girls. I can't tell you how many times I pinned girls in the office or girls at the bakery I used to work at that were just useless people. But they look, they had the tiny waist. They were like a size 2. They had big boobs. They had the nice, like, big hair, everything. And here I was feeling like I'm a swarty, like, awkward stage, yet I'm 25 person, like coming in here, working my damnedest, trying to get ahead, really putting effort in and getting nowhere near as far. You know how often I said it's because I look the way that I do? And that might have been the case, but I hated myself for it. I didn't say to myself, what a shit. Well, I did say this a lot. Well, I didn't necessarily hold them responsible for that unfair treatment. I just assumed that unless I became like that, or I looked like that I would have to work harder. And there's so many people that put themselves in that situation, when really the lack of the acceptance from the people around you is the problem. Not you needing to change what you look like or who you are or how you live in order to get that acceptance. When we compare ourselves, we are being the bully that we see other people acting like. We're being that to our own self. We're choosing to bully ourselves and keep ourselves down and not believe that we're good enough. Why? Who came along and told us that a certain body size was unattractive? Are you kidding? Back in the olden days, if you were like super duper plump and like painted your face with like white lead, you were the hottest thing around. Like in the 90s, if you look like you were a day away from the grave because you were this big and like sunken in the face, that was what was chic. People are always choosing, or society or pop culture or whatever it is decides what's attractive. So why do we allow that power to go to them? Why do we compare ourselves to make us feel like we have to be a certain way that society or pop culture or whatever dictates to us? Who told us the way we look is bad? Who told us the way that other people look is good? Nobody freaking did. And that's why people who say, I'm done with this, and they don't care what people think about how they look, like, not that they give up on themselves, they live their best life. They are who they are, bold and proud in people's face, right? Everybody that sees that, you see it on Instagram all the time. People will be the first one to chime up and be like, you're so brave. You're so confident. I envy you for being so secure, blah, blah, blah. Why is it not standard? is my question. Why is it not standard for everybody to feel that way regardless of how you look? If you don't like the way you look or you don't like the way you feel, that's up to you to change if you feel like it. So when we compare ourselves, I want you to remember this. You're choosing to allow the worst things that people can say about you to be true in your mind. That's a choice you're actively making, is to fit into the box that the people that you are afraid of hurting you, you're afraid of their judgment of you, of if they care about you, if you're good enough, you're pretty enough, thin enough, whatever. Those people who probably don't deserve to even know you, you're allowing what they think of you to be true. And I decided that when I started this whole thing, that's when I threw my scale out, was I was looking at all these 2 pounds lost this week. Like, oh, another pound down, another 7 pounds down, another blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is bull. Like, I am comparing myself. I'm working really hard. And you know what? This morning I woke up and I felt great for the first time in a long time. And I'm going to let this comparison of a scale and of weight, I'm going to let that negate all of the hard work that I'm doing now, where I'm making strides that haven't been able to be made by my doctors even. And all that's going out the window for what? Because someone on Instagram lost weight faster than me? When we decide what we give weight in our mind, we decide what means something and what meaning it has. We have that control. It's not easy. Trust me. When I see people talking poorly about me, I'm human. It sucks. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change my family, my income, my life, my future, my health. None of it is changed for the better. It's only all of it can be changed for the worse. Change for the worse. If I allow it to. I just had like a little spaz, a little water on the motherboard. But is this sinking in? Are you guys like connecting with this? I had to unfollow some people on Instagram because I was seeing them saying they lost like 5 pounds in a week, and I was comparing myself all the time. So I purged my Instagram and just followed my friends and people trying to be healthy with the same illnesses. Excellent. I was going to suggest that, actually. I was going to say, remove the exposure to the things that make you feel terrible. It is not because you're weak. It is not because that's avoiding. It's because that's an active choice to decide what you allow in and to decide what you allow to change your status and how you feel today. No one else deserves that, right? I don't care how much freaking weight, Kelsey Goes Keto lost on Instagram. I don't care. Go ahead. Like, enjoy. Great. Good for you. Like, good for you, girl. You look fantastic. It has no impact on me. So the second that has a negative impact on me, you got to go. So I would say follow Alyssa's lead and definitely edit your list. Edit your friends, your followers, your friends in real life. Why does it make you the schmuck because you have a friend that upsets you, makes you feel horrible about yourself? And if you decide not to talk to that person anymore, you feel bad. Why? If he or she wanted you to stay in their lives, they maybe would have treated you better. It doesn't make you the sad fat girl to put yourself first. That was the hardest thing for me to wrap my brain around, is that because I was the weight that I was, it didn't give me a license to feel like shit. It didn't mean that I deserved to feel like shit. So it didn't mean that if I ever wanted to diet, because often, it's like there's shame if you eat on a binge or eat whatever you want, but then there's also shame if you're a certain weight and you're on a diet too, and people know about it because you don't want to be that big girl on a diet again, But at the end of the day, do you see how much of your life is going to what other people think? How much of your energy is going towards how it's going to be taken by other people? When really, who does it matter most to what you eat and how happy you are? You guys. That's all that it matters. It doesn't matter to these jerks on wherever, Instagram, Facebook, real life. So if you have any presence in your life that makes you compare yourself constantly, remove them and feel confident in that decision to remove them, because why keep them? It's not a motivator to feel like crap. We all are here because of that. God knows we've had plenty of time to feel like crap in our life, where if that was the motivator, we wouldn't be here talking right now. The motivator has to be self-appreciation and self-love wherever the hell you're at. So, hold on. I see a big message here and I love it. Baby mama is skinny as F. In case there's kids. You can get away with shit. I don't know about F. And she said to me, it makes me so angry when people call you fat, Allison. It makes me so mad when they compare me to you. It's like the worst comparison I could ever make in life was making it, and someone was making it out loud to me, implying that others thought that way. Who? Ooh. Well, she's the baby mama. There's not much you could do to remove her. I'll talk to you privately, but what an asshole. Can I get away with that too? I can't get away with F, but maybe I can get away with asshole, especially for that message. God, and also the pick me nature of her too. Like, way to fluff your feathers, girl. I hope you feel great, you know? But anyway, whenever I was in workout challenge groups back in the day, the worst. I always felt like crap because people would lose more than me and I worked harder than them. That's why I gave up until I met you. I hated comparing myself and getting shit from people. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's the comparing ourselves in our own head, ourselves. You know, that sucks because you live with that. You can't escape that. So we got to fix it. But then it's another thing when people just come at you and compare for you, or sit there and, you know, tell you you're not working hard enough, or you're not disciplined enough, or the ridiculous backhanded compliment that Allison's baby mama gave her. You just got to preserve. That's all I got to say. I'm still rattled by those two messages because it gets me so angry. Why does anyone feel the right to talk down to anyone about their weight? It's just messed up. I got to assume those are people that have never really struggled with weight in their life that do that. So they don't understand the shame and the humiliation that you feel. That's all I can chalk it up to. And you just got to pray that they have some metabolic catastrophe at some point and gain like 100 pounds so that they could know. That's like, I don't wish harm on people, but I wish for them to know, the ones like this. But anyway, I digress. So comparison is the killer of friggin' joy. Next time, this is a tip. This is how I got into the habit of shutting my brain up because it's not going to be immediate. Your nature has been the way it is for how many decades? It's not going to be a quick change where you're just going to be like, suddenly I don't care, you know? So the way I got into it was, one, accept that it's going to take work and repeating it to yourself not to do this anymore. Just like it's become a habit after years and years to compare yourself. It now has to become a habit to not compare yourself, to just not do it. That's not going to happen. There's no switch, unfortunately. For me, what helped was every time that I started to compare myself, like, oh, I wish, you know, I wish I was that thin. Or anytime a friend started a diet after I started mine and lost more weight than me, you know, anytime those things happen, I would remind myself that none of it impacts me. I would say it out loud to myself. I'd say, okay, she's her. What about me? What do I need to fix was at first, because I didn't like anything about myself. Truly. That was the growth that I had to go through, was that I really hated myself. So first thing I worked on was figuring out who the hell I was. So this way I could have something to like. Then I forced myself to find qualities about myself, and every day, you know, am I good at solving stupid little riddles on Facebook as they pass? You know, every time I would see something that I was good at, I would like psycho almost celebrate it in my head. Like a complete and utter narcissist, I would just celebrate it in my head, right? It wasn't like a day-long celebration. It was like, ooh, woohoo, you know? And over time, I started looking for these things to pick out. Like I started wanting these things because they were making me feel so much better every day. And over time, anytime I would go to compare, before I could finish the damn sentence in my head, I'd be like, nope, not helpful. And I'd keep it moving. And then slowly but surely, that was just how I reacted. I just don't compare myself. I can see somebody lose more weight than me and say, good for them. I can see somebody not have to diet and, you know, go on a treadmill twice a week for 10 minutes while they're on the phone and still lose weight. And I'd be like, good for them. Because here's the thing. It's not personal. This was a struggle for me with fertility, especially, you know, comparing myself, having family or friends or people that I see getting pregnant at the drop of a hat, you know, and things like that. And it all felt so personal. You know, it felt like Like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by the thing that I want the most. Like, what is this travesty of life? You know, like you see some person that doesn't even want kids, you know, and you know that they don't, and you know that they're upset that they're pregnant, and like, that's their prerogative. There's no judgment in that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not personal. It's not a personal affront to me because other people choose to live their lives differently or feel differently, but it felt it. So when it came to fertility, when it comes to weight, whatever the case may be, in that moment, remind yourself that them being them and me being me, or even if you don't have someone to be inspired by to compare, if you're just comparing in yourself saying what you're not, you're running down the list of shortcomings, right? Remind yourself, it's not personal. I just got to think about the things I want to work on and then one by one work on them. Keep reminding yourself of that. Eventually, it'll be second nature. Okay, so I want you guys to keep writing in the chat. I'm going to go back and address everything at the end. But the second part of this, and it comes into play in some ways, is the I don't wanna mentality. I went through it myself. It was a period of resentment for the fact that I even had to do anything to live a healthy, happy life or lose weight or anything. It was just complete and utter resentment for the fact that I required effort in things that others didn't. You see that comparison there? You know, whether it was food, whether it was happiness, my job, my relationship, again, everything got compared, and every time I was faced with something to change, I was like, I don't wanna. But yet, if you asked me how I felt about the situation, I wanted more than anything for it not to be the case. But the fact that that it was something that I had to get over and accept before I could really put my all into something. Because I had to accept that it just is what it is. This is me. This is who I am. It has nothing to do with other people. There is no normal. That's the one takeaway I want you to get from this second part of this Zoom. There's no normal. Just like who the hell told us what was attractive? Who the hell told us what was normal? Because I'll tell you something, all those normal people that you're comparing yourselves to, they're not normal. They have trials and tribulations at home. They got messed up home lives. They got messed up finances too. They have clothes that they put on and they can't stand how it looks on them. They hate their jobs too. They have all this stuff. Normal people don't exist. Everybody puts their best face on in public. Some people's metabolisms support them eating whatever the hell they want. My sister's been tiny my entire life. Tiny, big butt, big boobs, a lion's mane for hair, no glasses, no braces, no major illness until recently, unfortunately. But either way, that's how I grew up, with that comparison, living with the comparison, loving the crap out of the person that I compared myself to the most. Truly, like, I wanted to be with her 24 hours a day. I love my sister to death, but it was like a constant comparison. So when I'd see her eating whatever she wanted and still be tiny and still it not affect her, and then I'm sitting there afraid of what the hell to eat because I'm afraid I'm going to gain weight, or I'm afraid it's going to hurt my stomach, or whatever the case may be. It was this overwhelming resentment of I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to think about this. I don't want to have to worry about what I look like or how I feel, because I should just eat it because it tastes good. The I don't want to mentality is normal, but it does need to be, I don't know how to say this the right, like, grammar, like, gotten over in a way. It has to be analyzed and accepted. And there's no way that I could speed that up for you except to tell you to not run away or think you're bad from the I don't wanna feelings. When you feel that way, I want you to run into that. I want you to analyze why you're feeling that way. You know, think to yourself and say, I'm feeling this way because everybody else is just enjoying their food while I'm sitting here thinking about how badly I want to be enjoying the food too. You know, everybody, you know, why am I feeling this way? Because I worked all damn day and nobody appreciates me. And no, I don't want to go schlep on a treadmill now in my time off. I don't want to clean. I don't want to do anything except sit down and be responsible for nothing. You know, journal out these feelings. Whenever you feel that I don't wanna resistance coming in, because that usually is an indication of what is deeper that you have to work on, what's deeper that you have to accept, and how to work around that, again, in time. The I don't wanna mentality, it's not, I don't want you guys to feel guilty if you feel it. Sometimes our bodies, our brains, they have a way of making us face the shit we have to head on, right? Obviously, we all know this. Sometimes it makes us avoid things, or it makes us pull back, or it puts us in denial, however it is that you get through things. So when you're feeling the I don't wanna, that's your brain forcing you to deal with something. So it's okay to argue with yourself. Don't think I'm forever going to suck at eating a certain way because I feel that way. Eventually, you're going to find the way that makes you feel good about how you live your life, about how you eat, about how you feel with your own body. And when that happens, that I don't wanna is just going to instinctively not exist anymore. Because the concept is, why wouldn't I? I'd rather eat this way. I'd rather live this way. It's not the end of the world if I eat a slice of pizza one time, as long as it's not like, one new thing every single day, because then that's just bad for our bodies in general. But even if, I want to say this right now too. There is something where there's a point in the road where you have to decide for yourself, and you have to say, I can either accept where my body is at right now and find ways to enjoy life the way it is, eating what it is that I want, living how I want, knowing that I'm going to face adversity, because in this society, somebody who does completely whatever it is the hell they want, who doesn't fit into society's boxes, is bad, right? So knowing that you'll face adversity for just blatantly loving who you are. If you can't do that, if you don't want to do that, you do want to change, you do want to be different, you don't want to feel this way or look this way or whatever, that's okay too. Just know that there's a different set of choices that come with that. But you have to commit to one or the other, because staying in this limbo of misery and self-hate because you don't love yourself and you do want to change, but you hate that you have to, that accomplishes nothing. It keeps the people you love from the real you. It keeps you from the real you. It takes up all our precious time on this earth and puts it into just negativity and horror, just stagnant. It just keeps you there. You just stay stuck. So if you don't want to be stuck anymore, you have to commit to one or the other. Am I going to accept, just unapologetically accept who I am, where I'm at, and what I look like? Or if I'm not ready to do that, I'm going to commit to making changes for my future, my family, everything, no matter how long it takes. Because what are the alternatives? Is this like impacting you guys? That's how I felt. Let's see. But why can't you just fix it? That's what people actually have said before. Who the hell do you hang out with? Oh my God. Okay. Don't they think if I could fix my weight issues that I would? I don't think that that's what people care about. I think that there is generally this just negativity, this awful hatred almost for any woman who isn't like thin. I think that that's just the thing. I think that people can't stand people who aren't thin because they assume that you're just not doing anything about it. Or you're just, you just love eating. You just love stuffing your face with stuff you shouldn't have. That's what, and I get it. Like, it sucks. Like, I get it. I know I was starving myself at one point, and people were congratulating me on being so disciplined with my diet. We live in a society where people praise toxic sickness behavior. They praise restriction and not eating. If you were a man and you went out to a restaurant and you picked at the jardinera that came with your friggin' meal, you picked at the pickles that came with your turkey club and left the turkey club, they'd be like, what's wrong with you? You need to eat. What are you, a chick? But if you are, Ashley, I saw what you mouthed. But if you're a woman and you're not skinny, God forbid you enjoy food. God forbid you're not always talking about losing weight and living at the gym and, surviving on celery and the occasional peanut butter. Like, it's just such bullshit. It's such bullshit. That's why they made the comment, because they can't stand the idea of somebody who is overweight, who isn't suffering and doing everything they can to change it. But they don't live for you. So they don't pay your bills. They don't get in your bed. They don't get a say. That's how I felt about not drinking coffee every day. Well, wait, which part? I rambled too much. What did you feel about the coffee? I forget now. I know I use normal people so often. So many people do. I used to do the same. I just want to be a normal person was my number one thing I would say to a doctor every time I sat down in front of them. And I got zero comfort from them for it, which is basically what I was looking for, was just some doctor who has a medical knowledge to be like, it's going to be okay. You're not stuck. We're going to figure it out. Instead, I got, well, it would help if you lost some weight. Bye. So I definitely need to journal more. I know I don't want to feeling too well. It's not all the time, but I need to get my feelings out in a healthy way. Yeah, I mean, it's super common. It's super common. But when we run away from those feelings, we end up just having a stank ass day the rest of the day. For what? Not worth it. You must hang out with my family. My great grandma told me that normal is a setting on the dishwasher. Oh, I love that. I'm going to make that a post. Thanks, girl. That is one positive thing that my hubby always approved of with me, that I enjoy food. He knows that I'm working on my health, but when we first met, he was so happy that I actually ate food. Yeah. I had a call with someone the other day where someone was on a date. They were on a blind date, and they ordered food, and the response from the dude was, well, I sure didn't expect you to get a salad, because they were overweight. Yeah. I was like, did you leave? Did you throw a drink in his face? Like, did you curse off, him and his whole family? Like, what? And she was like, no, I just sat there and tried to hold back tears. Better get up out that chair and get the hell out of that restaurant and leave. No. You know what you do? Here's what you do. You order about 4 different entrees and you dip on the check. Just so you guys know, if ever you're in that position. I hope not. But if you do, you have my blessing. Order a bunch of stuff. Give the waiter a tip on your way out. So, because, the jerk you're with probably won't tip well. They never do. And just be out. But just I don't want to, give up coffee because I love it. But yeah. So here's the thing. There are 2 types of people I notice. And it's the ones that, and it's based on binge triggers, but the ones that can, like, I, for example, love substitutes for things because I don't have to think. I know that I'm not good at stopping myself if I really like something. And if I do stop myself if I really like something, that requires a lot of thought on my part, and more thought than I want to be included with food. So I prefer the substitutes because I go for substitutes that I can just have it until I'm full, and that's it. And then I don't have to feel bad about it. Well, not that anyone should feel bad about it, but you get what I'm saying. I don't have to get bloated. I don't have to have all the issues that come with it because I know that I 100% will overdo it. That is my binge trigger. And then there are other people, their binge trigger is wanting the real thing and the substitute not being the real thing, and it reminding them that it's not the real thing. And then it makes them go and binge on the real thing because they want it so badly. So the first step when you're dealing with the I don't wanna in regards to food is to figure out which one you are and then set some kind of system for yourself. Trust me when I tell you this. If you allow yourself something occasionally and it's planned, your body will be fine. Granted, if you don't eat gluten for a really long time and then you go and chow down on bagels, which is like all gluten, you might have an eventful day in the bathroom the next day. I'm not going to lie and say that you won't. You should make sure you have 2 in the house if there's more than 1 person living there. That's all I'm saying. But other than that, if you say to yourself, okay, I'm giving myself one meal a week, 1 day a month. I don't agree with like cheat days or whatever, but I do agree with working within your binge triggers. And if your binge trigger, is if you don't do that, you will just explode one day and just go for all of the things you've been craving. Then to avoid that, wouldn't you say 1 meal a week or 1 day a month or something like that is still an improvement from the past? You know, don't keep such rigidity in yourself that you have to be perfect. You have to be dieter. You have to, because that's not what we're doing here. Okay. What we're doing here is teaching you guys to trust your bodies again, to trust food again, and trust that you can taste things or you can have something occasionally and eat the way your body works best 90% of the time. And that is still an improvement from how you were before. That, let's see here. I can't stop myself with snacks, so I don't do that anymore. Cannot stop. So there's a few tricks for that. One, portion out your stuff ahead of time. Put the amount, like get a Sharpie, write the amount of like carbs or whatever on the front of the bag. Put the bags in a different place and leave one bag of portion stuff on your counter. I know it sounds really friggin' weird, but it's the same kind of like concept of like grabbing a bag and just eating the bag. It's the same kind of concept, you know, or you could date the bags. I think that's a little bit much for me, but it's up to you. You could date the bags. So if you have them separated and dated for each day, there's a different bag. It kind of just mentally gives you that like, okay, that's for tomorrow, you know, or make a bunch of snacks that are lower carb or don't take a lot of effort to make. Like find little snacks that you enjoy just noshing on, because I would rather snack than meal anytime. Like I'd snack all day if I could instead of eating meals, you know, just who the hell has the time wants to cook that much, you know? So I don't, but work within how your nature is. Can you be both? Certain substitutions are great, but others fall short of the food I really want. So one, I do my best to try and figure out how to make substitutes for things. Like if I haven't tried it before, if I haven't made it before, if I'm really craving it, what I'll try to do is think, what's the texture like, right? And then I'll try to recreate the texture. Cinnamon rolls, for example. The texture is similar. It could be, you know, the only dough could be used for that 100% because it's kind of gooey in the center parts and like crusty on the outside, you know? So I started making them with that. If you truly can't find a substitute that scratches that itch, then allow yourself to scratch that itch every now and again, but plan it. Don't wait till you're so in the mood for it. You just go for it. That's another thing with if you have a hard time portioning things off and stopping yourself is if you wait till the point where you're craving it and you really, really want it, it's super hard. It's like going to a grocery store hungry. But if you give yourself a planned time, it becomes a lot easier for you to say, okay, I'll have this on this date, or I'll have this at this time, or I know I really want this. So what I'm going to do is in 2 days, I'm going to allow it. I'm going to come home from work and I'm going to have some and I'm going to enjoy it. You know, just set a time for yourself, but keep reaffirming to yourself that you're working on your health, your body, your overall feeling in your own skin. So worth it questions. I know some of you guys think it's dumb to go through all of them on like a friggin' small bag of chips or whatever. But trust me when I tell you, if you force yourself to go through those worth it questions with stuff, it's not that it's going to talk you out of it. It's that you're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn about your eating patterns and what truly drives you to eat the things that upset your stomach or make you feel inflamed or keep your hormones out of whack or whatever it is. So run through the worth it questions even if you end up having it. Don't be afraid to. It doesn't make you bad because you need the worth it questions. It just makes you want to learn about yourself, which I think everyone needs to. Okay. Before I started this, I didn't even know what real hunger felt like, if that makes sense. Yeah, hell yeah. Most of us have jacked up hunger signals. You know, when I hear somebody say to me, like, I'm just never hungry in the morning, that could be totally like normal. I'm not really I don't want to sit down and eat a full ass meal in the morning. It's like I want to get on with my day. I'm anxious thinking about all the stuff I got to do, like sitting down and eating. For me, I hate it in the morning. So I make my drink, you know, that's got the fat and the calories and all the stuff that I need in it. I work around it. But if I have someone that's like, I feel sick if I eat in the morning, I feel like literally nauseous, like I'm going to throw up if I eat in the morning, that's hormonal. That's based on the way we've been eating for a really long time, that our hunger hormones are being released all out of whack. So it's not uncommon to not even have hunger signals until you're starving and then you binge because you're used to silencing those hunger signals all day long. So your body catches on and it releases them when it's like, girl, you need to eat or you're going to pass out. It releases all those hormones and then you go ahead and eat everything you got in your fridge. I know I've done that before. So it's just so fascinating. I love the body. Me too, Michelle, total snacker here. I used to be so bad and I would never be satisfied until I got whatever it was that I had a craving for. Yeah, I used to be the same way. I used to be a nightmare. Like, hangry? Are you kidding? Come at me when I have a craving for something and you're telling me it's too late to eat that. Whoo! Take cover. Did I ask you or did I say, let's go get this? You know, like I was so, because it was all rooted in shame too. You know, whenever somebody was like, do you really need that? I hate that comment, first of all. Nobody friggin' needs anything. You could survive on minimal amounts of food, honestly, if you were like deserted somewhere. Nobody needs to have delicious food. I want to, you know, like what's hard here? But drives me crazy. So what time are we at? I definitely went over today. Oh, no, I didn't. We started at 8:15. Okay. So I want you guys this next week, I want you to think about what we went over today. I want you to try and pinpoint when you compare yourself the most. For a lot of you on our call before you guys were accepted in the program, I asked you that question. When are you harshest on yourself? Or when do you compare yourself the most? And some of you guys got pretty emotional with that question. And some of you guys didn't even know how the hell to answer it. So to me, that shows that that's something that's a pain point that we try to avoid and stuff down there. I don't want you guys to do that this week. If you're struggling with it, if you're thinking on it and journaling about it and you want to cry and you need some support, I want you to text me. I know I'll be in Greece. I don't care. As soon as I have service over there and I will answer you. I won't stress myself to do it. So everybody's like, enjoy your vacation. I'm like, I will, and I'll also be here to answer your text. So I want you guys to work on that and text me if you need any support, okay? Tell me what you think about, what you thought about this. If you want, send me some feedback. I would love to hear it. And I hope you guys all know you all deserve to have a fantastic rest of your night, even if that means being completely lazy on the couch, eating a cheeseburger, whatever the hell it is. You all deserve to enjoy the rest of your night, okay? So bye-bye.